Joining me now live in our studios is Ambrose Omodion, Chief Research Officer, Invest Data Consulting Limited. Mr. Ambrose, good morning. Always a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Blessed.
The market still in bullish sentiment. What can you say happened at the NGS in the course of last week?
For me, like I said over the weekend when we were discussing that, the market is doing what it's expected to do at this particular time, because in equity investing, they're all called timing. And this timing has to do with when the MPC meeting comes up, when is the quarter result of companies released, and you know that this will come on a regular basis. For that, as an investor, you plan towards that direction. Also, seeing that the earnings season has just kicked off, and seeing the first number again coming from that in financial sector, beating expectation, that have triggered the buying sentiment. And also before now, even before the new government came on board, in the month of May, I said it like that, the banking sector have been the engine of most of the trading on the equities, because they have volume at the same time. Being a sector that is enjoying some policies before the new government came with their own policies, before interest rates have been a support for them, because interest rates have been on uptrend. Okay. People are already positioned in that sector. And when this trend comes, and the result that came from that sector, just one of them from the banking sector, changed the face of the sector. For that, I see that investors will be tuned toward that report. Let them not be carried away with the result now, because every player in the market had different goal. That means it's possible that this morning I seen some profit taking some stuff, because why? There are some traders that have made their 25%, 10%, 40% want to go out, but you are buying. But you know why? That's why I say you should have a goal when you enter the market. You have your target, all those stuff. But now that the market is going up, don't be carried away with an up market. I tell you that, because this result will just be a season. It will also stop. They will now look at what the third quarter look like. Also, like today is the first day of the MPC meeting.
Yes.
Like I have that this week, I put it there that the global financial market is either on a make or on a break. What I said is that almost like 5 different countries having their MPC meeting or policy meeting for this week. Nigeria have started their own this today. Yeah. Tomorrow we're seeing Indonesia. Yeah. We're seeing US Fed on Wednesday. On Thursday we're seeing European.
ECB.
Yeah. Only we're seeing Japan on Friday, because it's a policy week for. That means they want to decide where the financial market the world will be going. And if we in Nigeria now today, tomorrow we get a communique from the committee, and it tells us that are they going to hike rates? This is very, very key. Everybody say either make or mark. Why? Because if you are pushing the economy to a tight corner with no hiking rate, like I was in Nigeria, that it is not money supply that push our inflation to where it is. It just reforms and other things outside the monetary policy. Then for me, this time for it, either we'll do a pause or we'll just leave it flat, like I just say, either on hold. But if we look at what is happening in US or ECB, they told us earlier that they're going to do, for US, this is the last one, they're doing 25 basic points. And after this one, the circle of hike will close. Then in ECB, they told us that, okay, this is the second to the last they will do, after that it close. But Nigeria, we don't know whether this is the one we're going to all do. But that's to expect that for what is happening, since it's just policy-driven inflation, pressures on the then you need to leave all this into that. Like I said in tech analysis or in equity investment, after we applied fundamental analysis, the other thing is very important is patience. Now that we have seen reform coming here and whether they are mismatched reform or what, but we are seeing that there are some good of this reform. You need to give time to see how this reform will blend, to see event of funding before you can hike. For me, this is the time for even MPC to be thinking how can we stabilize the rate, because now we've seen that inflation is around the 22.7, almost 23%. If you also hike inflation, like I said in this flat on that, any CBN or any monetary policy, you only have 2 instruments to use. Now, we have exchange rate change in Nigeria. Exchange rate have been changed. Inflation aside, you can also go and touch your inflation, your interest rate. Like these are the monetary things. Yes, money that the central bank only will trade around with. You can't control the trade at once. You must leave 1 or 2 to control one. Now that you have already used your exchange rate to pressurize inflation, you don't also want to use your interest rate to add to what is set up. For me, it's time for them to look at that and watch what the outcome will be. For me, there's no cause for alarm.
There's no cause for alarm for those deciding to trade at the capital market this week. But then again, looking at the figure we got from last week, we see that the oil and gas sector actually followed suit after the financial service sector. What do you think brought about the rally that brought about the momentum in the oil and gas sector?
No, don't forget that before now, if you look at what is happening globally, oil prices have hit almost $120 when the Ukraine and Russia war started, but it pulled down to almost below 80 for a long while. That's why we are seeing decline inflation in most of the mature economy. Okay. But here in Nigeria, because of the reform we are seeing in the environment, it has changed the sentiment of people towards the oil sector. And not only that, because let me tell you one thing that is very, very important. Most of all the oil marketers in Nigeria, before the pronunciation of subsidy is gone. They all have no product or inventory on stock. And when they announce that thing, new price that came automatically, got more than 200% increase in change. That's going to boost their what? Their earnings.
Yeah.
On the end of the day, it's going to reflect on the product. If they are sincere now, we're going to see it's going to reflect on their. But don't forget that also, not up to another month, they will see another hike again. And most of these marketers also have gotten license not to import to import fuel. I believe that in the short time, going to make money, but only that subsequently again, the cost of importing also increased. They have actually about because of the inventory we had before, we expect to see a move in your earnings on your revenue. That will also impact their. And also don't forget that equity feed of what on earnings. When you see impressive earning, price will react to that impressive earning anywhere, any market.
Okay, let's quickly touch at the services sector, which happens to be the conglomerate industry. We're seeing a turnover of 180.5 million naira worth of shares. What would you say is the rationale behind this? For me, conglomerate sector, it depends. If you're a conglomerate company, you have subsidiaries that are into some manufacturing sector, you're going to hit your bottom line at the end of the day, because I tell you, you're importing your raw materials unless you have done backward integration. But if not, because you have conglomerate, you can already just go where you have not to replace it. That is why First Bank are able to survive all this while, because they are a holding company. Yes.
When they are having a lot of non-performing loan, other subsidiary was contributing that they are still paying 35, 40% dividend, but now they are coming back from there. I think that is good of a conglomerate, but it depends in the sector where you are operating. If you are conglomerate fully on manufacturing sector, you need to sit up, because going into the future, this reform until we start seeing stability ahead before we can say. But for now, we can see that the activity might look good. But if this trend we are seeing today, this second concern continue in this quarter, we might see a kind of a slowdown in their earnings for future.